You're listening to the Crew Book Club podcast, the show that challenges you to change your mindset through hearing about dope books. Thanks for hanging with the crew to get advice, ask questions, and gain knowledge with me, your host, Sade Hill. What up, crew? What's good? Are you ready for another episode of the Crew Book Club podcast? Can I get an A? Yeah. A. It is another beautiful opportunity to embrace a new week. The Mondays. Woo! I told y'all I love Mondays. And it's not just because the podcast dropped. It's just like it's a new week, a new opportunity to kill it. Okay? A new opportunity to move forward. Like your new... You know how we have New Year goals? Like, oh, I'm going to do all my goals. Like, your New Year can start right now. Every business has a fiscal year, and every business fiscal year isn't the same date. So treat your life as you are your own CEO. And if today is your fiscal day where you make the change and you stand on that thing, let today be your fiscal year. Okay? And we celebrate it. We can celebrate that every year. The fiscal year for the Crew Book Club podcast is April 4th. You know, that's when I went live on my first episode and launched the Crew Book Club podcast episodes. Yes, so let it be. And that was, when was that? Last year. Yeah, last year I used to go live every Sunday at 7 p.m. and do what I do now here on the pod. And look, that turned into a YouTube channel. And anywhere you listen to podcasts. Ain't God good? God is so good. So if today is your fiscal Monday, mark that date in your calendar right now and be your change. All right? So how are you feeling? Okay? If you feeling good, feeling great, hey, feeling good, feeling great. How are you? Keep that energy up. If you feeling like, girl, it ain't it. Today ain't it. That's okay. Let's pivot and make the statement, today is it. Okay? My life is lit. It is it. All right? No matter what is going on, I can get through this. I'm living and breathing, and I got another opportunity to change my life. All right? All right. So we got some juicy stuff to get into this episode. We're continuing our book, The Gift of Imperfection by Brené Brown. Super excited. If you're wondering, hey, what other ways can I connect with you? We are on the YouTube channel, and I just did like a 5-minute introduction talking about some exciting news and how to be excited for your tribe and trusting God that He is in the vicinity. And so if you want to go and watch that, the link will be in the show notes to look at the beginning of the YouTube channel. I always hop on there and drop some gems and have a conversation for the sake of time being on the pod. So that's another way to get a visual too, because your girl looking fly right now. Okay, so you need to see what I'm working with. Also, you can go on our Instagram, the Crew Book Club. We're on there. We're on TikTok. We're on Fanbase. And let me tell y'all, please support Fanbase. Okay, your girl got stock in Fanbase. All right. So, it ain't like no big stock. At the time that I brought stock in Fanbase, I can only afford like one stock. But at the end of the day, I was just like, it was probably the price that I would pay for a nice bag. And I was just like, I'd rather put it in that than to buy something else. You know what I'm saying? So those are places where you can find the Crew Book Club and connect with us on there. All right. So we gonna just get into this episode, and the first segment of the show, before we do anything, the same way you say grace before you eat your plate of food. That's the same way we gonna go into this podcast on Who Gon' Check Me, Boo? He is always checking us, right? Because we deserve to be checked. We welcome a good check because it keeps us in check. Okay, my head and heart needs to be in check with God. So thank Him for allowing you to be able to have another day, and for me to be on here recording this podcast. Okay, so the title of this Who Gon' Check Me Boo moment is We Believers Are Recession Proof. Okay. I read this scripture by doing Bible study with the hubs, and it was Matthew chapter 6. The ones that stuck out the most was scripture 31 through 32. So that was Matthew chapter 6, verse 31 through 32. It says, "So don't worry about these things, saying, what will we eat? What will we drink? What will we wear?" These things dominate the thoughts of unbelievers, but your heavenly Father already knows all your needs. Woo! Okay? I feel like this was so appropriate at a time where people are worrying about a recession. They're worrying about, oh my God, food prices are going up. Gas prices are going up. Like everything is inflated, right? And then it's just like, do you know who I serve? Do you know the God that I serve, the provider, and that got my back, my front, and my sides? I have on so much armor that if worry come my way, I'm deflecting. I'm fighting it. And sometimes you have on armor, but there's ways to get through the armor, those little secret points to get through the armor. And sometimes that worry might creep in and that doubt might creep in. It's just we turn to him in those moments. As a warrior or a soldier goes, they're fighting the battle. They keep going. They don't stop right in the middle of the battle because they got pinched or hurt in that moment. They still fight to survive. And then they go back and regroup to fight again. So that is the same way how I felt like with everything that's coming around, and I'm 34, and in my lifetime, we might have not experienced something like this before. Your girl done been to college, I'm being out. Well, Roman noodles and hot dogs were my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, I done scraped and had to look at the pump and only can afford $10. Like, we done been there, okay? So I don't know if you've been there, but I done been there. And let me tell you, God has always brought us through. So why wouldn't he do it this time? Like the famous Thai tribute, if he did it before, he can do it again. If he did it before, he can do it again. Okay? So we ain't worried about nothing over here. If you are a believer, just know you're recession proof, baby. And it's not a day that's not gonna go by when you're not gonna have no food, a place to lay your head, clothes on your back. Your needs will be taken care of, okay? So just trust in God. Yes, so that was a who gon' check me, boo. We believers are recession proof, okay? Matthew 6, verse 31 through 32. All right, so Crew Love, I did not receive a written review. I just received some amazing texts and love from some people that I know are a part of the crew. Now, I really appreciate all of that. And if you like, girl, yes, we love you. That's all you need to say right there, right now. Go click on write a review if you're listening to it on the Apple podcast so I can share it with the rest of the crew. If you're listening on Spotify, please leave 5 stars. I greatly appreciate it. And if you're listening anywhere else and I can't necessarily see your Crew Love, please share it, tell a friend, hit me up on YouTube, Instagram, fan base, and just follow the Crew Book Club and DM me a thank you. We love the show. All right. I want to get to know y'all. That's what the crew about. I want to intimately get to know you guys as much as I can. Okay. All right. So we're getting into the gifts of imperfection. And remember, these aren't chapters. These are just titles. So we're going to go through 2 title chapters. 1, the things that get in the way. Okay. Because a lot of things get in the way, right? And then the other chapter we're going to hit into is cultivating authenticity, letting go of what people think. Let it go. Let it go. That's what we're going to do. We're going to let that go. All right. And remember, all of the books that I try to pick out, check Audible. And if you even if you're not listening to the podcast books, you can listen to, they have theatrical shows, they have wellness programs, they have comedy, they have so many different stories that you can listen to, documentaries on Audible. So right now you can get a free 30-day experience through Audible and the crew. Just go to audible.com/crewlove. The link is in the show notes as well. Or if you go and check out, you can put the promo code CREWLOVE, CREWLOV. All right? All right, so check that out. Now, the things that get in the way. We the people that be joyful, comfortable, and don't want to reveal our shame, right? Becoming is not light and breezy. This is why a lot of us are where we are. And she says that perfectly on page 49. She says, we don't change, we don't grow, and we don't move forward without the work. If we really want to live a joyful, connected, and meaningful life, we must talk about things that get in the way. Lord knows, right? If we want to live in love with our whole hearts, and if we want to engage with the world from a place of worthiness, we have to talk about the things that get in the way, especially shame, fear, and our resistance to vulnerability. All right. On page 50, think about this. Like, what is a dilemma of us allowing things to get in the way? Why is it how to so alluring when truthfully we already know how to, yet we're still standing in the same place, longing for more joy, connection, and meaning? Whew. It's like we know better, but we don't do better. And all the information that we have can help us elevate. It's just we end up being in the same spot. So what is the dilemma of that see, my words are getting in my way. All right. The conversation can be difficult because we have to look inside, have honest conversations with our shame. She says here, yet we're facing what feels like insurmountable crisis around addiction, debt, mental and physical health, violence, and loneliness, just to name a few. Why? We have more access to information, more books, more good science. Why are we struggling like never before? Y'all want to know why? Okay. Because we don't talk about the things that get in the way. I don't know how many different ways I can say it. Have you received it? If you have, say yes. Okay. She says on page 53, let's discuss shame resilience. How do we get resilience against that? And it's on page 53, Shame Resilience 101. First 3 things that you need to know about shame. Listen, y'all, we all have it, okay? We are all afraid to talk about shame. And 3, the less we talk about shame, the more control it has over our lives. Please understand that. And I think this is why I stress why it's so important to have a tribe, even if it's just one person that you can go to and talk about your shame without judgment, right? Someone who's going to support you and come from a place of understanding, all right? She says here on page 55, shame resilience is the ability to recognize shame, to move through it constructively while maintaining worthiness and authenticity, and to ultimately develop more courage, compassion, and connection as a result of our experience. The first thing we need to do is understand that shame resilience is that the less we talk about shame, the more we have it. So we need to be aware of these 3 things: secrecy, silence, and judgment. Whew. People with high level of shame resilience shared these 4 elements on page 56. They say this: they understand shame and recognize what messages and expectations trigger shame for them. So when you're having a moment of feeling shame, let's write it down so that way you can recognize it and check it at the same time. And also, don't put yourself in that situation that makes you feel shameful. Whether it's that person or that thing that you're doing, it's like, okay, after I do this activity, after I'm around this person, after I eat this, after I watch this, after whatever that is, what are you feeling after? Are you feeling shame? Are you feeling that you wasn't authentic? Are you feeling like you haven't been true to yourself? Then recognize that so that way you won't put yourself in those situations. Right? Trust me. I'll be working on that, okay? The second one that successful people who handle shame resilience do is they practice critical awareness by reality checking the messages and expectations that tell us that being imperfect means being inadequate. What makes me think of that is, like I said, like what we watch or being on social media. And I'm realizing more and more that my friends are recognizing, okay, being on social media triggers me. And that's okay. And for me, I get motivated by stuff on social media. I don't take it as me comparing or trying to or whatever. But that also has to do with the fact that I unfollowed a lot of personalities. I only follow people that exude and that exudes and is cultivating the lifestyle I desire or the lifestyle that they're already living. Like pure motivation. Following people who journal, following authors of the book, like really honing in. So now when I go on my Instagram, the first thing I'm seeing is motivational quotes and people winning and doing things like that. So cultivate your social if you're struggling with things like that. And or you don't feel like cultivating it, take a break from it, you know? And if you can't take a full break from it, put in your calendar, I'm going to be on social media from 1 to 1:15. Or like in the habit book, we associated, like for me, I'll use me for example. I cannot check social media unless I journal, read my Bible in 10 pages in one of my books. If I don't do any of those, I cannot open my social media until that is done. Okay? The third thing that people who are successful with shame resilience is they reach out and share their stories with people they trust. The key phrase is people they trust. I know a lot of people want to go on social media and discuss their personal life. And I think that's why it's so cool. There's a close friends list. So if you feel like you need to pick up the phone and record it and put it in the phone, cultivate your close friends list and do it through there. Don't share it on your public page, whatever, just to get that feel like you put it out there on social, if that's what you need to do. The fourth thing that they do is they speak shame. They use the word shame. They talk about what they're feeling and they ask for what they need. This is one thing that I've gotten so comfortable doing. It did not happen overnight, okay? It took practicing, starting small, and doing small things with myself and then with my crew and seeing how they react. And then I noticed, okay, if I talk to so-and-so about this and that's her reaction, okay, maybe she's not ready to deal with how I need her to respond, and that's okay. Then I can talk to so-and-so. But it takes, try little things with people and then let them know what you need. Like a lot of times people be so scared. Well, I don't want to say this because I don't want to hurt their feelings. Da, 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 da. But it's like if somebody really love you and they're your friend, they would rather want to know what you need so they can know how to show up for you. And if you don't articulate that, you're not giving them the opportunity to make a decision, an informed decision. So ways to be successful in practicing shame resilience. All right. Use the word shame. Like, girl, I feel so ashamed that I did this or responded this way, or I feel so ashamed that I didn't eat like this. Own your shame. Like, own your shame. We talked about owning our story, and your story could be amazingly beautiful and all of those things with accepting what you're shameful for. I think that's the beauty of a story, of a successful story. Like knowing what someone genuinely went through, that's what we connect because it's relatable, it's authentic because we all going through shit. Excuse my French, but it's true. All right. So be aware of those things. And the things that get in the way chapter is so good. I've had so much to highlight and talk about. I just try to give you those knockout points so you can go get the book yourself. And if you want to order the book, that's in the show notes as well. All right. So let's talk about, cultivating authenticity, letting go of what people think. Ooh, you ever meet somebody like, oh, I don't care what people think, but then they stressing about what they're wearing or stressing about what they're doing. It's just like, okay, are you sure you don't care what people think, or are you caring too much of what you're doing so people can think this of you? It's still caring about what people think at the end of the day. One of the things that I struggled with was being a people pleaser, which people pleasing, caring what people think and what I do, and I'm doing it to please them. And I had to go to therapy to get through that. And I told y'all I have the relationship with BetterHelp.com/crewlove, where you get 10% off your first month of therapy. And I just tell people, just try it. Therapy is not a lifelong commitment. It's just a commitment you have to make to get through your tough times. And it's best to have someone who can guide you mentally and that you can be so bare-hearted with that can really help serve you. So try it out. I use it regularly when I need to be kicked in the tush, okay? And it's a good kick-in. It's not like a bad check to myself. It's just like, okay, how can I mentally better myself and prepare myself and recognize of letting things go? And that goes into the letting go of what people think. So go to betterhelp.com/crewlove. That's betterhelp.com/crewlove to get your 10% off your first month of therapy. They take insurance. They have, you can apply for aid if you can't afford it with insurance. So don't let money be an excuse on why you can't try therapy. All right. BetterHelp they have that for you for help. So cultivating authenticity, letting go of what people think. Page 67 through 73. Choosing authenticity means, page 68. 3 points. Choosing authenticity means cultivating the courage to be imperfect, to set boundaries and allow ourselves to be vulnerable. Keywords: courage, 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 courage. Cultivating the courage, okay? That means you have to curate and make it happen. It just ain't courage, just not gonna fall out of the sky, all right? So setting boundaries, that's something that you have to communicate, all right? And allowing yourself to be vulnerable. Before you can be vulnerable with anyone else, be vulnerable with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and put it out there, saying it out loud, right? Second thing, exercising the compassion that comes from knowing that we are all made of strength and struggle. Okay, you can be strong and still struggling at the same time. We're human, y'all. We have so much to offer, and we all go through the same thing. We're all struggling, and we all strong. Okay, so the third thing of choosing authenticity means, nurturing the connection and the sense of belonging that can only happen when we believe that we are enough. Sis, no matter what you are going through, what you are facing, you are enough. Just like what we talked about in the beginning of the episode, like as a believer in Christ, God got you. And he loves you just the way you are. Who cares what other people think? They don't pay your bills, okay? They're not going to decide whether you go to heaven or hell. They didn't die on the cross for your sins. God loves you for who you are, and you are enough, all right? Whew. I'm talking to myself. I'm literally looking in the camera, and I'm talking to myself, all right? So those are ways of choosing authenticity. And I want you to remember this. When you guys are changing and cultivating your new space of courage and setting boundaries, everybody not going to understand, okay? So she says here on page 69, some will find inspiration in our new commitments. Others may perceive that we're changing too much, maybe even abandoning them or holding up an uncomfortable mirror. It's not so much the act of authenticity that challenged the status quo. I think it's the audacity of authenticity. Ooh, it's like, yes, I have the audacity to walk around and be me. And what you gonna do about it? Not a darn thing. You know why? Because you are not my God. Okay? You don't live in my household. You don't know me like God know me. So don't be hating because I got the audacity to be authentic. Okay? And I honestly think when people have an issue with something that you are expressing, it's either not because it's like they jealous or anything. They're like, dang, she got the nerve to be out here telling her truth and living her truth. Yes, sir. Because there ain't nothing you can say or do when I walk into the room that I'm not being authentic about myself. You could be a fly on the wall and you're going to get the same shot at. And that took a lot of work. It's more hard work to wear the mask than to just take the mask off and leave the mask over there. Seriously. Think about when during COVID when you was wearing a mask. It was uncomfortable, right? Even though it was quote unquote supposed to be protecting you, at the end of the day, it was still hard to put on the mask every day. The same as being your authentic you. Like you gotta get up, still handle your real life stuff and get out here into this world and not be authentic. I ain't got time for that. That's why letting go of what people think is so important. And that's why we have to cultivate authenticity. It's just not going to happen tomorrow. But you can practice that. And it's not just once you get it, it ain't going to always be easy. So just continue to do it and to be authentic, okay? So go out here, girl, and have the audacity to be yourself. Yes. All right. And be cautious. Now, be very cautious of this. If you trade in your authenticity for being liked, you may experience the following: anxiety, depression, eating disorders, addiction, rage, blame, resentment, and grief. Okay? That is the caution of you not being authentic. You ever be like, why am I feeling this way? Why I have so much anxiety? Why do I have so much depression? And all of these things can be connected to you being authentic, not asking for help. We need help. You can be strong and have strength and be struggling, but it's okay. Ask for help. And that's another thing why therapy is so important, to help you process all of these things. And there's medicines for these things too. Don't be so ashamed. You get medicine for headaches. You get medicine for all these other things. There's medicine out here. And also people misuse these terms too. And going to therapy will help you understand and solidify those things as well. So don't forget BetterHelp.com/crewlove. And it's not a shameless plug of any sorts. I am here to help you. And I'm not going to give y'all anything that did not help me. And I'm not saying my way is the best way. I'm just giving you my testimony, and then you can try it. And if you find something else that works for you, please share it with me so I can share it with the crew. That's what this environment that I'm curating is about. All right? Everything not going to always work for someone, but having a crew of people that can give and bounce ideas on how they heal can help heal someone else. Like your testimony is your testimony until you share it. And just remember, you're not going through life just for yourself. You're experiencing things to help other people grow and elevate as well. Like, and don't dumb down your story. Like, your story can help someone. All right? So just be cautious of that. That was so good. Y'all, the goal is to be authentic, y'all, not to be liked. And I realized everybody not gonna like me, so I would rather be authentic and have the people that like me for me. And that's it. I would rather have that. Oh, revelation. It's like, why fake it? You wonder why you got fake friends? Because you're not even being authentic to them. Because if you was really who you were or wanted to be, then you would have people accepting you for you. Oh, okay. So I would rather be my 100% authentic self, and the people that stay and love me for me will be here to help me get through my worst days and be here for my best days. Oh, that was so good. All right. Yes. I'm telling y'all, I'm not somebody... This is not something that's happening overnight, which I want people to understand. This is something I'm constantly becoming. And this is why it's so important. Like, I'm getting teary-eyed. This is why it's so important to read these type of books and to have a relationship with Christ. Like, if you're mixing a pot of all that goodness, you're going to get goodness. Okay? So, yes, let's get into the challenge of the week. The challenge of the week was inspired off page 64 and 65 of the chapters we went over today. Kickstart your shame resilience. I want y'all to kickstart your shame resilience. I want you to grab your journal or screenshot the show so you know where to listen for your homework. Yes, you guys have homework. This is what I want you to do. I want you to answer the 4 questions that were listed in the chapter about the things that get in the way. Write these down. Who do you become when you're backed into that shame corner? 2, How do you protect yourself? 3, who do you call to work through the mean, nastiest, or the crying hides, or the people pleasing? And 4, what's the most courageous thing you could do for yourself when you feel small and hurt? Okay. I am going to do this myself and get on Instagram or whatnot and post about it. And I'll do another link for the for YouTube. But do this activity and really connect, because then I think these questions are good, because when you're experiencing that moment of shame, you can go back to these questions and see who you wrote down, see what you can do to protect yourself. Because I think when we're experiencing a shameful moment, it's hard for our brains to process a non-emotional response. So when we have things written down that we can reference, it's like research on yourself. You are your own author of your story. And as an author who researches, you can go back and look at your notes to help you, right? So do that. That's the challenge of the week, is to kickstart your shame resilience plan. Okay? All right. So let's get into what would the crow do as some advice. All right, let's hop into it. I work in corporate and I was just promoted among my peers. Wait, pause. Ask your questions. Give your scenarios. You can DM them at the Crew Book Club, or you can click the email and email it to the crewbookclub@gmail.com and just type in ask advice so I can answer your advice here on the pod. You never know who you could be helping. I do my best to give the best advice. Okay. All right. So it says, I work in corporate and I was just promoted among my peers. Now that I am in management position, I know I have to delegate tasks to my team that used to be my friends on the weekends. They are making my job difficult because they want me to let them slack on deadlines and rules in the office since I know them. I am acting different in confrontation. I had been in this position before. I remember when I was working for Cash America and I was a new girl from out of town, and I kind of it wasn't so much as I was friends, but I remember I connected with everybody, and this one particular girl that I was cool with, she wanted the same position, and I ended up getting the position over her, and it was some confrontation and things like that, and we ended up working it out over conversation or whatnot. It's just, when I'm reading this, it's just like, you said they're your friends on the weekend. It's not even on the weekend thing. It's friends. So if they're your friends and they're not supporting you at doing your best, are they really your friends? And if they are your friends, you should be able to communicate with them and have a conversation with them on the weekend. And I know it's outside of work, but say, hey, friend hat off, friend hat on. This is what I need from you at work for us to continue to be friends. And this is where you have to decide, do I cut them off as friends? Because you're not going to not be their manager. You can't go to your boss and be like, hey, these are my friends. They don't respect me and I don't want to tell them what to do. So can I not be the manager in this department? Girl, no. No, you cannot do that. What you can do is go to your quote unquote friends and say, hey, this is my job now. Please respect it. If you want to continue our friendship, you're going to have to respect my position as your manager. Okay? And you're going to have to be able to separate our friendship and management. And let me tell you, it's not going to always turn out how you would want it to turn out. You could lose these friends. And if they walk away and not be your friend and not respect you in your new position that you're elevating in, they are not your friends. Okay? So that's my advice. Communicate with them how you're feeling and set the boundaries with them. And if they are your friends, they will respect you in your decision. And then you have the right to not associate yourself with people who are not going to respect you, whether it's at work or in your friendship. So that will be my advice for what would the crew do. Ask advice on this. If you have something else that you think could work, hit me up. I'll share it on Instagram. or whatnot, and we can talk about it further there. All right, so this episode was just so bomb, y'all. I had so much fun dropping these gems with y'all today. I hope you loved it. If you loved it, please share, tell a friend, drop a review, and all of that, okay? And before we can even end the episode, you know I got to give you the quote of the week, and it comes from our author, Brene Brown, on page 49. Listen, y'all, we don't change, we don't grow, and we don't move forward without the work. If we really want to live a joyful, connected, and meaningful life, we must talk about things that get in the way. All right, crew? Go out into the world, be your 100% authentic self, and don't let no one tell you who you should be, and talk about things that get in the way. It's your girl, Sade, and I'm checking out of this episode of the Crew Book Club podcast. Hey! Want to be a part of the crew? Hit that follow button so you'll never miss an episode. And while you're at it, I would appreciate you showing crew love by rating the show on iTunes and Spotify. Don't keep all this goodness to yourself. Share and tell a friend so your whole crew can be growing with you. Let me be the first to tell you, welcome to the crew.